The broadcast engine helps us solve the problem of nobody knows us. The goal that we want is high quality new patients each and every week. Think of your broadcast efforts a little bit like an engine. That's why I call it the broadcast engine. And if one cylinder is misfiring, the whole thing is going to end up running rough and sometimes doesn't run at all. Now, to build consistent visibility, to build that know, like, and trust, your broadcast engine needs to have 3 cylinders firing. So we need to have owned media, rented media, and borrowed media. Now, each one of these plays a slightly different role in helping your community to get to know you, like you, and trust you. So I want you to ask yourself now, which of these cylinders is firing best for you right now? Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, folks. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Marketing Your Practice podcast, a podcast where I have the pleasure of simplifying the marketing and the mindset so you, the chiropractor, can increase your income, your impact, and your enjoyment in practice too. Now, today we're going to continue our journey around and through the 7-figure lifestyle practice triangle. This is our framework for building a really high income, high enjoyment chiropractic practice. Now, to quickly reorient you, this triangle addresses the 3 key problems or barriers that get in the way of us having the practice that we want, which is a 7-figure lifestyle practice, one that doesn't exhaust you in the process to making you a bucket load of money. The first of those problems is that nobody knows us. This is a visibility problem. We end up being the very best kept secret in our communities. The second problem we need to solve is that nobody stays. This is really a trust problem. This is about us building these long-term relationships where instead of nobody staying, what we want is long-term loyal advocates. The third problem we've got to solve is no time. This is really a leadership problem, okay? What we want here is a self-managing practice. And if we set things up right, and we'll talk about this in coming episodes, that's exactly what you can expect. Now, last week we kicked off the discussion with Nobody Knows You. We talked about the standout strategy, and this is all about positioning yourself. The standout strategy answers the question, why should people in your community come and see you? Who are you best for? And chances are that when a patient, a practice member is coming to your practice, they're going to go past 3, 4, 5, often a dozen other chiropractors. Who are you perfect for? It needs to begin there. Now, once we've answered this question, we can move into this next part, which is the broadcast engine, okay? This is more visibility. This is about becoming unmissable in your community. Now, remember, the more people in your community who know you, like you, and trust you, the busier and more effortless your practice becomes. So let's explore how we can build that presence. Think of your broadcast efforts a little bit like an engine. That's why I call it the broadcast engine. And if one cylinder is misfiring, the whole thing is going to end up running rough and sometimes doesn't run at all. Now, to build consistent visibility, to build that know, like, and trust, your broadcast engine needs to have 3 cylinders firing, okay, all at once. We need to have owned media, rented media, and borrowed media. Now, each one of these plays a slightly different role in helping your community to get to know you, like you, and trust you, okay? Owned media is the stuff that you fully control. It's your website, it's your email list, it's your blog. Maybe it's things like lead magnets or an ebook that you've written, okay? These are your trust builders. This is where patients, potential patients, your community gets to go a whole bunch deeper with you. Now, I want to spend a couple of moments here talking in particular about your website. And so you might be wondering, how do I know if my website is actually working? I want to share a quick little checklist with you as well, okay? Could a visitor tell who you help and how you help them within the first 5 seconds? Now, I've done this inside of Community Influencer many times where I've popped up websites. I've given people 5 seconds to look at them. And with many chiropractors' websites, they weren't even able to tell that it was a chiropractor, let alone that this might have been a family chiropractor or a chiropractor that was interested in sports performance. We couldn't even tell, okay? Now, if somebody can't tell within 5 seconds, they're going to bounce off, okay, unless they're already a really, really strong lead. The second thing to think about is there a clear and simple call to action? Is it telling me what I should be doing next? And how hard do I have to find a button that says book now or schedule a visit, to actually call you? Too many of your websites are making it really complex. And if I have to think again, I'm going to bounce. Does your homepage show social proof? Now, the easiest way for us to do that is testimonials or reviews. Now, here in Australia, it's a little bit more difficult for us to share this. We can share some types of reviews, the sort of reviews that might just say, hey, listen, we've been seeing Dr. Angus over the last 10 years. My family and I all come along and see him. We've never found a chiropractor who listens and who cares for us like the way that he does. That would be the type of the testimonial there that AHPRA would be happy to have on our website. AHPRA doesn't want to have testimonials that say, hey, listen, I used to have headaches. My little one had colic. We came along to see Angus. My headaches went away. And now my baby sleeps well like a baby. Anything that's talking about those things is not going to work here in Australia, but there are plenty of things that you can do. If you're concerned about this, go and have a look on the AHPRA website. They have examples of things that we can have on there. But our homepage should show social proof. It should build authority. Again, we can also do this by talking about what groups are we a part of? What extra study have we done? The next thing to think about is your website mobile friendly? Does it load quickly? 3 seconds is the golden time. So head over to your website, make sure that you clear out all your cache beforehand because that's what makes it load faster. Put in your web address, and does it pop up nice and quickly in less than 3 seconds? If it does, that's great. And what does it look like on mobile? Too many of you are looking at your website on a beautiful big widescreen, whether that be a laptop or desktop. 70% of people in the community are going to come to your website on a mobile device. And often it can look terrible or can be much more clunky to navigate around on, okay? Are there relevant photos of you, your team, and your space, okay? Not stock photos. There's just no excuse for stock photos anymore, okay? Have a photographer come in, take some photographs of you. That's what builds connection, all right? I don't want to see some random family running along the beach holding hands. It's the same picture I'll probably see at the dentist down the road or the optometrist as well. These are vague pictures. There's an opportunity for you and your practice members to be in this. Show you're working with the type of person that you want to track. If you're missing any one of these, there's likely some trust that's being lost. People are going to come to your website, they're going to bounce off, and this incredibly valuable real estate won't be returning you what it ought to be, okay? Now, another part of media that we own here as well is your email. If you're not sending something to your list at least once a month, you're missing a massive opportunity. Email lands in their inbox. It's direct, it's personal. We have an opportunity here to share stories and tips and even just short insights, okay? This is what keeps the relationship warm. This is, again, marketing is not just to new people. It's also about continuing to build the relationships with people who already know us as well. Now, owned media is powerful because it doesn't disappear when the algorithm changes. It's stable, it's searchable and powerful. And going back to email again, it was one of the most valuable assets that we had during COVID there for me to be able to communicate with our practice members. Again, even if we're doing a good job on social media, we might be reaching about 10% of our audience there. But with our email, we're getting open rates of somewhere between that 40 and 50%. So we could stay in great contact with our practice members. We could continue to add value to educate and nurture those relationships, okay? Now let's move forwards, okay? So from owned media that we control, we'll move into rented media, okay? This is the second cylinder here that we're talking about. Rented media includes platforms that we don't own. It's things like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and your Google business profile. These profiles or these platforms help you to build lots of know and like, but remember, we're on borrowed land here, okay? So we're subject to the algorithms, to the updates, and the policy shifts. And this happens all the time. If we find a platform that all of a sudden doesn't want to hear about something that we want to talk about, this was really strong during the COVID times. Chiropractors had a slightly different message that we were sharing at this time here, and many of us got shadow banned, okay? But if you want a deeper dive into how we can use things like Facebook ads and paid media, check out episode 413, where I walk you through the essential elements of a paid traffic funnel for you to be using, okay? Even if you're not running ads, and again, you certainly don't have to be running ads on rented media here as well. There are three types of posts that you should be sharing consistently on a weekly basis. The first I call planned content. This shows your community that you have a plan to help them. Now, whether you're a family practice, you've got a plan to help the little one that's got colic. Maybe you're deal with the athletes all the time and you have a plan to help them recover faster and perform better there as well. That's planned content. It's educational content. You need to share proof content. Once you show them that you've got a plan, you need to show proof. Let them know that what you do works. This is results, testimonials, case studies. Again, here in Australia, if we can't be sharing testimonials, there are types of testimonials that we can share. Sharing research and research updates, published case studies, these can also help you share proof. And the third, and probably one of the most important elements inside this rented media here, is personality content. This lets people in your community see behind the curtain. Lets them see, who are you? What do you believe in? And why do you do what you do? Now, remember, we make a lot of our decisions, particularly our health decisions, emotionally. We're going to justify them logically, which is you're close and you're convenient. And I've seen some of your, information on TikTok or Instagram there as well. But it's the emotional connection. I found that you share the same values that I do. This is what really deepens the connection as well. Now, those three buckets of plan, proof, and personality, they build real, lasting, deep connection. They help people decide, I like this person, I trust them, I want their help. And if your phone isn't ringing from social media, then it tells me you're probably missing from one of these buckets, or you're missing them consistently as well, okay? Just make sure that your rented media, though, ultimately what it should be doing is pointing back towards your own media, okay, which is your website and your email list. So again, we can have things that are building an email list. Your email list, I know we were talking before about own media, but your email list shouldn't be just of patients. It should be of people who are not patients just yet. So our rented media drives people back to our own media, your email list, and also your website as well. Now, borrowed media, this is the third cylinder. This is all about tapping into somebody else's audience. This might be a local workshop. It might be speaking gigs. It's referrals. It's collaborations. Maybe it's interview on a podcast or a radio in the newspaper. Now, these can be really wonderful trust accelerators, but they are a long game, okay? The key here is relationships, and relationships, deep trusting relationships, is not something that's going to happen overnight. This is about building mutual trust. It's not about cold calling or cold pitching into local gyms or Pilates studios. This is all about taking your time. And this works when we bring value first. Many of you who've listened to the podcast for a long time will have heard me share one of my favorite quotes, the quote that has underpinned what I believe most of my success in life, and that is, you'll get everything you want in life if you just help enough other people get what they want. Now, most of you, I'm sure, have different practitioners pitching into your office on a weekly basis, coming in, handing over their business cards. I would have a new massage therapist or a myotherapist, a naturopath come into my practice on a weekly basis. Say, hey, listen, we've just opened up around the corner. Here's our business cards if you ever need any help. Now, why would I send somebody to this person? I didn't know them. I saw them just for that brief moment there as well. They've handed me a business card there too. This all changed the day for me some 10 years ago when a young man came in and said, I'm a new massage therapist in the area. I love chiropractic. I recommend all my patients get adjusted. I'd love to find out more about what sort of chiropractor you are and what type of patients I should be sending to you. He immediately got my attention. Okay, we had a lovely chat, and that built a relationship there that lasted many, many years. And so when you're wanting to build relationships with people in your community, and when you're going to meet them, make it about them. I'm working with a community influencer member at the moment who has a new and young and super excited associate. And his strategy is to meet a new business each and every week and to go into them and find out about what they do. Again, health spots are best to start with. Okay, so it's Pilates studios and gyms and personal trainers and yogas and naturopaths and any other practitioners that are in the community. Find out about them. Now, the other reason that we want to do this, I always wanted to see myself as a referral hub in my community. I wanted to know who was great, from restaurants to gyms to personal trainers to yoga studios. And so if I had a recommendation, if somebody wanted a lawyer and accountant, I always was somebody that was in the know. And I also knew who not to go to as well. Now, just because someone seemed like they were a nice person and they were going to send you some patients, if they're going to be terrible at what they do, we don't want to risk the relationship. And so again, going back to my client, his goal for his associate is to meet somebody new each week. Now, you can reach out to these people on the social media. You can actually go into their place. You can call them, but take this relationship slowly. You're unlikely to get a referral from them immediately. Mostly on the first catch up, you're going to be spending more time asking questions about them. Now, when you get this nailed and you have this relationship really right, we've had fabulous joint venture relationships with many different businesses, from CrossFit gyms to Pilates studios, that have been worth literally hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Okay, so some of these people would refer 2 or 3 new patients a week, Run the maths on that. Okay, we had great retention with our practice. We're a family wellness practice. So this turned into hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue. So when you can find and land these whales in an authentic way, it makes a huge difference to the number of people that will end up coming and seeing you. But remember, relationships that are rushed do not work. The best borrowed media partnerships come when all parties benefit, okay? It's good for you, okay? It's good for the other person and it's good for the patient. If it's not good for all three of you, it is not going to work. And I know many of you get in relationships where you're sending lots of patients one way and they're not sending any back. If you're doing that, then sit down and talk with that person. Let them know, listen, there are many different sort of physios or naturopaths or gyms that I could be sending people to, okay? Here's what I do. Here's the sort of people I can help. And you can do that in a way that they might go, great, I didn't realize that that's what you did. Let's recap all of this. The broadcast engine helps us solve the problem of nobody knows us, okay? The goal that we want is high quality new patients each and every week there as well, okay? There are three parts of this broadcast engine we talked about. Owned media, fabulous for building trust. Rented media, this is really great for getting discovered because we can put ourselves in that rented media in front of tens of thousands of people for just a few dollars here as well. And borrowed media, again, this is powerful because it helps to transfer trust. Now, each of these helps to move people in your community from a stranger to a patient through know, like, and trust. So I want you to ask yourself now, which of these cylinders is firing best for you right now? And is there one that needs a tune-up? Now remember, where we can get ourselves in trouble is if we're very deep on one of these, there's a level of vulnerability, okay? We want to build redundancy into the system where we're on all three of these cylinders are firing. If we're really good on owned media there as well, if something happens and that stops working, although owned media, because we own it, it tends to not happen, but certainly we can be vulnerable from rented media. I certainly have many practices that have built phenomenal practices on running Facebook ads and social media, and then things have changed and the tap has been turned off, okay? So we don't want to be vulnerable. We want to be across all three cylinders of owned media, rented media, and borrowed media. So which one of these is working best for you and which one needs a bit of a tune-up? Now, next week, we're going to wrap up this visibility arc. Remember the three sides of the triangle, the problems we're trying to solve. No one knows us. No one stays and no time. So we're going to wrap up this visibility of nobody knows us. And we're going to talk about the reactivation blueprint. This will be a step-by-step way for us to wake up our old patient base and bring them back into care. Thanks as always for joining me. Keep up all the great work out there. And as always, thanks for all you do. Keep saving lives. See you back here next week. Bye. If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out my Community Influencer Program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work with you to help you apply it, implement it, and systemize it. The Community Influencer Group Coaching Program is designed to help you increase your practice income, impact, and enjoyment. Join me over at anguspyke.com/join. That's anguspyke.com/join. I'd love to see you there.